Okay, my friends, what does it mean that Jesus and his believers are living stones? The truth is, as I started to think it through, that's exactly what we are. Let's try to work this thing out. All right, they're saying the term living stones in 1 Peter 2.5 is used as a metaphor to illustrate the secure and intimate relationship believers have with Jesus, who is described in the previous verse as the living stone. That's pretty interesting, living stones. Together, these two verses picture how Christ and his followers are joined by God himself as you come to him, the living stone, rejected by men, but chosen by God and precious to him. You also, living like living stones, are being built into a spiritual house to be a holy priesthood offering spiritual sacrifice accepted to God through Jesus Christ. Well, the living stone thing has me very interested. You know, when I started this journey, things just started to fall on me. Like these, one message was, these things are for you to see and for others as a test. And then it just started to come down on me like crazy. I didn't go looking for any of this. All of these, I copied them when they showed up. And here's, one of them was, beware of the false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Matthew 7:15. False teachers cannot understand the things of God, which seem foolish to them. That's a true statement. That's 1 Corinthians 2.14. As a result, God gives them over to a depraved mind. And I'm telling you, they are depraved. The teachers, the academics, they got issues, real issues. What is the punishment for these false teachers in the Bible? These false teachers are like a dry well that has no water. They are like clouds in a storm which the wind blows away, and it never rains. No rain comes. God will certainly send them to the darkest place in hell. God speaks harshly. You know, that's just kind of dark. God speaks harshly against these false teachers. Occult practices, well, I don't get into that too much. I don't understand it. I stay away from it. Other means of sorcery. I can't discount anything anymore. After the things I've discovered, nothing is off the table. Their lies and manipulations from a forked tongue, so they will choke on their words. All right, Luke 19:40 or 19:37, and as he approached the descent from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of disciples began praising God in a loud voice for all the miracles they had seen. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven, glory in the highest. But some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. Jesus said, I tell you, he answered, if they remain silent, the very stones will cry out. And boy, are they screaming now. This one fell on me particularly hard. It's 1 Corinthians 1:26, brothers, consider the time of your calling. Not many of you were wise, not many by human standards. Not many were powerful. Not many were noble birth. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. He chose the lowly and despised things of the world and the things that are not to nullify the things that are. I find myself in that position of being weak and all that stuff, and I think I am changing things, I hope. I'm seeing minds being changed to my feeling for the good, for truth. Truth is good. I don't care how upsetting it is. It's good. Here's another one that speaks extremely loud in these exact days. Titus 1:16, they claim to know God, but by their actions they deny him. They are detestable, disobedient, and unfit for doing anything good. Here's another one, 3 John 1:4. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. The way I see things, if you don't start with truth, you accept anything. If truth means nothing, then nothing means anything. Truth is the only thing that will lead you to the answers that are real, not just answers. You can answer anything with a few words, but if you don't have truth, those words mean absolutely zero. And then they will talk about, I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely portion. And this is Typhon. Now here's something about the false teachers, and I'm telling you right now, as far as I'm considered, the academic society and the top universities are the worst of the worst. And this is what their destruction will be. 2 Peter 2, false teachers and their destruction. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresy, even denying the sovereign Lord who bought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. Many will follow their depraved conduct and will bring the way of truth into disrepute. And this is just absolutely fact. In their greed, these teachers will exploit you with fabricated stories. Truth means nothing now. Their condemnation has been long hanging over them, and their destruction has not been sleeping. If you're a teacher, you're an academic, and you're in this condition right now, unless you turn yourself around, and I say quickly. And I have been talking about the teachers, university system, where they put you under their thumb, and you must say what they tell you to say, or they will destroy your life. That's not right in my book. Let's just take this right here. 2 Peter 2. We just went over this, but think about this carefully. They were talking about false prophets. Well, I am finding that the Christian people, they don't want to know anything other than what they read in their books. They don't want to expand their mind into anything else. Which a lot of the stuff that's written in the books may be right, may be wrong, maybe partially right and wrong. I'm finding things that I want to examine. And I've been told, no, don't read that. Don't read that. Oh, no, that'll ruin you. No. What you don't read will ruin you. Reading is not going to ruin you. Your mind is supposed to understand by a thing called the logos. And the logos means logically understanding what you encounter. Logic. Not just somebody said these words to you, so you have to believe them. And they're saying there's also false prophets, just as there will be false teachers. And the teachers now, they're not this incompetent. So I have to, in my opinion, I have to believe they're frauds and liars, and they're doing it for their own self-interest. They're not interested in you, they're interested in themselves. They secretly introduce destructive heresy. There's no such thing as God. All that stuff is nonsense. If you believe in any of that stuff, will fail you and destroy your life. denying Jesus, denying God. And that's going to bring swift destruction. And many will follow. Almost everybody is following them, because if they don't, they get pushed under the bus. And they bring the truth, the way of truth, into disrepute. I was so put against for 15 years. I couldn't believe that the truth that is undeniable could be pushed against in such a destructive way. And that's what happened. And it happened because of the academics, not because of just normal people. Normal people were looking and thinking and understanding. The ones that were destroying everything I did were related to academia. And their condemnation has been hanging over them, and the destruction does not sleep. This is another one. For time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, whatever they want. They have itching ears. They will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. They're going to heap up a whole bunch of teachers that will say what they want to have said, and away from the truth they will go. See what is in front of you. There is nothing hidden. Nothing is hidden. Jesus said, recognize what is in your sight, and that which is hidden from you will become plain to you. It will become manifest. You will see it and you will understand it. So, a final word on the living stones. Everything that I am putting in front of you here was alive at one time. That was a living creature at one time, a part of one. And this is a hair follicle from a giant creature at one point was alive. So what's on the ground now are stones. They're not alive anymore, I don't believe. But we and our believers are living stones. Sooner or later, we will be like this. We will be stones. But right now, we are living stones. That's the way I'm taking this. And there's a lot spoken about the living stones. We are the stones. And Jesus is the living stone. I don't know how else to take this. I know it's a huge, huge change. Revelation, call it whatever you want to call it. You can't get blood out of a stone? That's just crazy. Those stones were alive and they had blood coursing through them at one time, just as we do now. And at one time, sooner or later, we will be stones. That's all I can say. And I wonder about cremation. Is that something, should you have to be buried entirely as your body? What about people that are torn to shreds for no reason of their own? This gives me, reason to start to think, is there some way that you should be buried? I mean, they used to do them all, the mummification, all that stuff. Maybe that was important. I don't know. We've been fed so many lies, we just have no idea what's truth and lies anymore. I look to see what's in front of my face, and then I try to figure it out. And maybe that's probably the best thing you can do too.